Okay, the next drawing exercise that you are going to do is called blocking in. This is actually the first step in creating your still life project. You are going to take a piece of copy paper and you are going to pick one of those two still lives that are in your Google Doc, number 1 or number 2, and you are going to do this exercise as your rough draft for this project. So you're going to get a piece of copy paper, you're going to pick your still life, okay? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a rectangular size box, and this is the box that's going to represent my piece of paper when I actually do my project. Our piece of paper is going to be long and skinny. Now, if you want to, you can totally hold yours the other direction if you want, but the two drawings that I gave you of still lives they really kind of lend themselves more to a landscape format, okay? So this is how you do a blocking in exercise. You start off, I usually start off with the largest item in the picture, probably this thing, and I'm going to start by placing that right here in the center, and I usually do this step very lightly because if I have to erase it, that's going to be miserable if it's not done lightly, okay? So this is, whoa. Okay. This is blocking in that object. Okay. Now don't draw the bottom because I can't really see the whole bottom of it. I can only see part of the bottom. So I'm just going to kind of leave it floating like that until I've placed my other items. Okay. Once I have the first item in, then I can go through and I can pick items that are touching it to block in second, okay? If I look at this cup extends to about the halfway point, right about there in my, on my original shape, or the first shape that I started with, okay? And it extends out to about, I don't know, maybe a third of the way out. So when I block in the top of that cup, I want to try to make sure that I get that roughly in the right spot, okay? And then I'm going to make sure that I extend it down into the picture, roughly where it's going, okay? The next thing I should do is probably this because it's touching my cup, and it just kind of goes in just a tiny bit into the cup, and it can be represented as a circle. Okay. Next thing, I'm probably going to do this guy because it both touches here and it touches the middle of this. So I'm going to give myself some little marks here just to kind of show myself where it belongs. Okay. And so then the next step would be to draw it up as high as it goes in relation to where the curve is here. So it goes up to about this space and comes back down. Okay, and then I put my neck of that bottle on and stop it right about there. It's probably where I'll stop that. The next item that I can place is this one. Okay, so I'm going to extend that roughly where that looks like it lands in this picture, and it comes out to about here. Then I'm going to add the neck of that bottle next, and that's got a really wide mouth on it, so I'm just going to throw that there. Next thing is this apple. I can again represent apples as circles. Notice that this is not perfect and it's not taking me that long to plot out where things belong, okay? I'm not taking forever on this. Next thing comes in probably right about here, and just the corner of it touches this item. Okay, so I'm going to draw my rim, extend down, and it's a tall one, pretty tall cup. Okay, I can put my other apple right here in front, and it is actually a lot lower than that item, so I'm going to pull it down. Okay, and this is where I can see the bottom of that object. Next thing, I'm going to put in my other apple right here. I'm going to put in the tall bottle, which it gets its skinniest right at the exact same spot this object came up to. So I'm just going to represent that here. And it extends all the way up just about to the top of the paper. Last two items. I'm going to start out with this guy. Okay, and the bottom comes down, oops, right about there. Erase that. And my last apple right there. Oh, I forgot the ring of this. Okay, I have a blocked in still life on my piece of paper at this point. I want you to notice one thing that happened as I was doing this. Do you notice all this negative space? So maybe when I block this in on my larger paper, that's something I can adjust. I can move my design over a little bit. Maybe this item isn't right in the center. Maybe it's a hair over to the side, which then is going to make everything else fall into place. Okay, but this blocking in step, this is exactly how you would do a blocking in step. Simple shapes, figure out placement, size, proportion, and that is it. At this point, once I have this on my paper, I can then go back and I can refine these shapes and draw them exactly as I see them. Anytime I see a highlight on one of these things, like this little shiny area or a reflection, I would draw that in, okay? But that's after your blocking in step.